Are you difficult? Welcome to the Hopefulist with me, Wendy McClure. A Hopefulist is the woman who takes control of her life to feel vibrant, alive, and passionate. I help uncover the limiting beliefs that have held women back for so long so you can step into your true, authentic self and live the life that is truly meant for you. Because you matter. Welcome and thank you for being here. I want to congratulate you for continuing to listen to things that will help improve your life. Just the fact that you tune in means that you are hoping and wishing and working towards something better, a better future, a better life, something that you can get up every day and look forward to. So I thank you for joining me, and I hope, as always, that you get a little bit of that out of this. So starting out with the quote of the day, never waste time trying to explain yourself to people who are committed to misunderstanding you. Yeah, sometimes you're trying to explain something to someone and they just refuse to see your point of view. They just only look at it from what they're taking out of it. And at that point, there's just really nothing that you can do. Which leads into what I want to talk about today is, are you difficult? I've been accused of being difficult many times in my life. There's people who have this reputation for being difficult. And if we break it down, that's typically going to be women that this is being said about. Because when we're talking about men, the conversation usually sounds something like, oh, well, they don't take any crap. But when we're talking about women, we inherently have a different set of expectations. And that is just a result of the patriarchal society that we have all been brought up into. So, we have to fight back against this so-called reputation. And I am sure that there are people that think that I have this reputation for being difficult. And it may be true. Maybe I am difficult. Maybe to those people, I'm difficult. And they can think what they want to think. But I think that the limiting belief that we need to dissect here is that women need to just get along, that women need to just let things go so that we're not perceived as being difficult or demanding or nagging or, a bevy of other unattractive words we can use to describe when women don't just get along. I had a conversation with my husband the other day, and I was like, am I difficult? Am I somebody who just likes to be mad? And he said, I can assure you, you are not happy when you are mad at someone. But what he did say, and it's interesting when you hear somebody else's perspective about you in a situation. He said, you tend to want to hold people accountable for their actions, where a lot of people would just let it go. But you don't do that. And that's okay. He wasn't saying in a derogatory kind of way. He was just using it as a comparison. And he's right. Most people do just let things go in order to get along. And I know that a lot of the feelings that I have and the way that I conduct things in my life is because of the way I was raised. We all have these things, these little trauma points that come back over and over again throughout our lifetime. I happened to have a very volatile relationship with my mother who constantly made me feel bad. And in essence, was constantly disrespecting me. I have a relationship with my father who barely acknowledges my existence. So that's obviously problematic for me as well. So I have to, I don't want to say the word fight or demand, but what I want to say is I have not been respected most of my life. And I deserve respect. I deserve respect. And that is the second limiting belief that I want to get into, is this belief that you have to earn respect. I completely disagree with that. I feel you are owed and entitled to respect as a human being until you demonstrate that you don't deserve it. You know, you don't walk up to a stranger in the street and start being rude and disrespectful to them. If you do something like that, then you're the jerk. So you don't just start out disrespecting people. You don't wait for somebody to earn respect. You give them respect. And then if they take advantage of it, or you find out they really don't deserve it, then things change. But this you have to earn respect is, I believe, not accurate at all. I think that we as human beings are owed respect until we prove that we are not worthy of respect. I'm not saying that, people have to act a certain way. I'm saying treat people with kindness. That's what I'm trying to say. Now, I've had some incidents in the past where people have been extremely rude to me. And I remember talking to a friend of mine about an issue that I was having with somebody, about an argument that we had had. And I said, I have to seriously think about removing this person from my life because I do not allow people to talk to me like that. And I remember that the response was basically no response. And I could almost feel, and I could be wrong, but I could almost feel the judgment of, who do you think you are? You don't allow people to talk to you like that? No, I don't allow people to talk to me like that because I have boundaries and I'm not going to be treated in ways that I don't feel that I deserve. And if you do treat me in that way, then you need to be held accountable for that. And whatever that looks like in any particular situation can be different, but you have to own up to what you did at the very least and apologize. That's the very least. But no, I tend not to try to let people in my life who consistently disrespect me because that's only hurting me. And the fact that I felt judged in just my, declaring that statement that I don't allow people to talk to me that way is problematic because I get to say how I am treated in my life. And again, I think this goes back to limiting beliefs that we are supposed to just try to get along. Again, women, we're supposed to just try to get along, And if you try to demonstrate to people that you believe you are worthy of respect, you kind of get this judgment of, well, who do you think you are? Well, I think that I'm a human being and that I deserve to be treated in a certain way. And if you don't treat me in that way, then I get to choose whether you continue to be in my life. Obviously, it's not that black and white. but we really just hold women to this super high standard, making our lives even more difficult than they already are. I have had issues with people in the past. I have issues with people in the present. And I think that one of the limiting beliefs, and this is something I'm kind of grappling with right now, is that when I have issues with numerous people, that is a reflection on me. This goes back to my Dr. Phil days when he would say, well, what's the common denominator there, Wendy? And I'd go, well, it's me. Maybe it's not me. Maybe I am not the common denominator. Because it could also be that I'm just being treated with disrespect, and my boundary is to not allow people to do that to me. For example, I have been having numerous issues where I play pickleball indoors. And, you know, as much as I don't want to say it, most of the issues are with men. I had a situation recently where, and it's this long drawn out story where basically there was a man just telling me that I needed to get off the court because it was my turn to sit out. And I happened to know with 100% certainty that it was not my turn to sit out. Now, if I wanted to just get along and make a fuss, I would have just sat down. Not a big deal. But this man made such a big deal out of it. Like, he just was looking at me and talking to me in such a way. He's like, I'm trying to tell her that she needs to be sitting down right now. Again, just complete lack of disrespect. Maybe if he would have said, hey, Wendy, I think it might be your turn to sit because when we got done playing, blah, 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 blah. And I would have been like, oh, no, this is what actually happened. But he was being very in your face about it to me. And I just got to the point where I just looked at him and I said, I'm not going to argue with you. I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. And finally, when somebody else explained the situation that I had attempted to explain but was shut down, he walked off the court. Then, a couple weeks later, I have another incident with another man, a different man at indoor pickleball. And, this guy, he's just a loudmouth, he's like a trash talker, like he thinks he's funny, So we were playing on the same team, him and I, we were partners. And somebody discovered that there was a crack in the pickleball. So, we went to dispose of the cracked ball and look for another one. So I had said, hey, there is a ball right there. No response. Keeps walking back towards the other part of the gym. And I'm like, hey, but there's a ball right there. And finally, other people are like, hey, Wendy's trying to tell you. And he goes, I hear her. And then he comes walking over. I chose to ignore her. Okay, what did I do to deserve that? And I didn't say anything at that point. But it really begs the question of who is the difficult one? If I make a big deal out of that situation, who is the one that's going to have the reputation for being difficult? I am. When all I'm doing is standing up for myself. And this reminds me of Katherine Heigl, who I actually mentioned a few podcasts ago. I used to really have a hard time with Katherine Heigl. I found her to be very unlikable because of all of the things that I had heard about her being difficult to work with and being demanding. And, I kind of did have that attitude. Who does she think she is? I did. And then I saw somebody ask her. She said, you do have this reputation of being a witch. what do you have to say to that? She said, I have to say that if, standing up for myself, for asking for what I deserve, and for having boundaries in place makes me a witch, then I guess then I am. Bravo, girl. Bravo. But she's the one that has the reputation for being a witch, demanding, ungrateful, what have you. And I feel like I'm in the same exact situation right now when it comes to this place where I play pickleball. Now, if I had other options, I would just leave and not go back there anymore, because there is obviously a pattern of disrespect going on in this place. But I don't have another place to go to play indoors. So I still don't know what I'm going to do about that situation. But I just don't understand why some people feel that they can talk to people in a rude way and that I'm just supposed to sit there and let it go, because that's just not who I am. So when it comes to reputation, I may be getting a reputation at that place for being difficult. So be it. I have boundaries and I have integrity that causes me to live within those boundaries. And if that means that I get a bad reputation, then so be it. Am I happy about it? No, of course not. I don't want people to be saying bad things about me, but that's not the most important thing in my life. The most important thing in my life is my life, how I feel about myself, how I stand up for myself, and how I conduct myself through my own life. And it's difficult at times, very difficult at times. But we can only do what we feel is best for ourselves. Right? So my tip is to try to worry more about your own integrity than to worry about your reputation. Now, that first incident that I discussed about at Pickleball, I had actually posted on my social media page about that incident and how I had walked up to him later that same day and said, in the future, I would appreciate it if you did not yell at me. And his response was, I wasn't yelling. And I was just like, well, yeah, you were. And I got it across to him that I wasn't going to take that kind of treatment. And I got a lot of good feedback from that post. Because when I came home, I felt good about myself. I felt good about what I did. And had I not stood up to him, I would have let myself down. So, my point is, it is so much more important to live with integrity and live in a way that makes you proud, that makes you feel good about yourself, than to worry about what other people are saying or thinking about you. Because if I would not have said something to him that day, I would still be thinking about that situation and how I wimped out, how I let him disrespect me with absolutely no repercussions. And I did let him know in no uncertain terms that I'm not going to sit there and have you talk to me the way that you did. So if anybody knows of a good indoor place to play pickleball here at the Jersey Shore, give me a shout out, because I would really, really love to find another place to go. And that in itself is problematic. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not the one that's causing trouble. I'm not. I know that people there might think that. All I'm doing is reacting to the way people are treating me. And I am the one that is suffering, because every time I see certain names on the list of people who are playing, I think about canceling for the day, because I just don't want to deal with them. I don't want to see them. I don't want to be around them. So I have to suck it up or remove myself from the situation. And I don't think that either one of those is really optimal for me, but one of the choices has to be made, right? So we'll see how that goes. Weather's getting warmer. I can play outside more. So that is some good news. So when you are in a situation and you feel like you are being disrespected, and it's one of those things, if you feel like you're being disrespected, you more than likely are. But one thing that you have to know as well is one of the things that I always do is try to figure out what I did to contribute to the situation, to make sure that I'm not misunderstanding things. You know what I mean? So when I do have an incident with somebody, I really evaluate the whole thing. And there are times when I deserve blame. There are times that I snap at people, or, maybe I'm in a bad mood and I take something the wrong way. That happens. That's why it's important to evaluate that point, to make sure that you didn't do something to contribute to the situation. So when I say that you can usually know and tell right away when you are being disrespected, before you lash out, try and figure out if you are misinterpreting it, or maybe you did something that made them mad and you didn't realize it, what have you. But typically, if you feel like you're being disrespected, you're usually being disrespected. And I'm really tired of women being labeled as difficult or demanding for just wanting to be treated, one, with respect, and two, God forbid, equal. Oh, okay. Well, I think that I'm going to just stop there before I go off on a tangent and, keep digging into these limiting beliefs. The biggest problem with limiting beliefs is it's typically something that we've had in our brain since we were children. And we have never even thought to challenge this belief. Like, you have to earn respect. How many times did you hear that growing up? Maybe a child has to earn respect. And again, that was me as a Gen Xer. I wasn't allowed to have an opinion as a child. So maybe in that scenario, I had to earn respect. But as a full-grown adult, yeah, I deserve respect until I give you a reason to not respect me. Right? The other limiting belief that I think that is one that I've had for a very long time is, if I'm the one that has the same problem over and over again, the common denominator is me. And I would say that that is probably the truth for a lot of situations. But it's not always just that simple that it's me. And it might be the fact that, as my husband pointed out, I want people to be accountable for what they do and what they say. And that's just who I am. And he clearly knows that. There's other people in my life that should know that. That's how I operate. That's who I am. And frankly, I don't think that's asking too much. But the limiting belief is that we just, as women, need to get along, let things go, and not be difficult. But this is your life. You live for you, not for your reputation, not for your ability to get along with other people. You live your life so that when you sit down at the end of the day, you feel good about yourself, what you do for yourself, and the way that you live your life. If any of this resonated with you today, I would appreciate a review on the platform that you're listening, say on Spotify, on Apple, what have you. just write me a little review. Give me a little, star. 5 stars would be awesome. I would love 5 stars. Or share this with your friends. Share this with somebody that you think might have some limiting beliefs that are holding them back in life as well. Because, when it all comes down to it, everybody matters. You matter. I matter. We all matter. And we're all just trying to get through life in the best possible way that we can. So, thank you, as always, for joining me. I truly appreciate it. Check out my website. It's hopefulist.com. All kinds of good things on there. Now go on out there and be badass. You know I'm cheering you on. Thank you for listening to The Hopefulist. Please visit my website at hopefulist.com. And always remember, you matter.